Yo, what's up? It's your boy King Joe, and just walking back, checking out the building. You know what I'm saying? Future spot that we putting together. When the building places I've just purchased. And what I wanted y'all to see in this purchase is the color of that building. See that cavalry in white? That blue and white right there? Offset of gray on there? Yeah, you know what colors those are. We're gonna stand with them. Yo, we lost yesterday, but we're still searching and getting better. I'm already ready for next year to get it started. You know what I'm saying? We already know what we need to do. We know we need to get a new linebacker, get a more reliable running back. You know what I'm saying? Maybe another cornerback, maybe another tackle. We know what we need to do. We right there. We're not far away. We're not far away. They're not far away. But guess what? We're gonna keep doing what we're doing. And we was hurt yesterday, we was down yesterday. It's disappointing. But guess what? Not today. How about them Cowboys?
Took some overtime to get the time right. Had to lose a little mind to get my mind right. Finally realized, but in hindsight, you wanted the limelight. Me priority never once. You kept close but never really wasn't. I accept you like a focus. Agree with all your choices. Needed you to need me. Needed you to see me. Until I found the right direction, I think my reflection would agree. Had to find the me in me.
The Short Sport by King David Jordan.
We have a special show for you guys again. I hope you guys are ready for the show. The show is going to be so special today. We got a special guest host with us. We got Boas in the building. I know y'all thought I was going to show up. It was a rough weekend.
Everybody talking, but they talking about us. BRG walked on that God we trust. As long as our names was in the book, we good. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. BRG walked on that God we trust. As long as our names was in the book, we good.
Won't can't be that happy either. You know what I'm saying? Won't can't be that happy because they took a beat down too. Philly, Anthony, you can't be that happy either. So it's been a rough week. It's been a good week of football. So we're going to continue to do what it is. You know what it is. It's King. It's Bo. It's the Bo King Bo Sports Show. It's going on. We're live right now. Phone lines on 478-569-6110. Let's go ahead and get this thing started right now. Let's go. Show me the list. Show me the list.
Show me the list. Everybody talk about they in the place.
What's up, King? What's up, buddy? How's everything going? Man, I'm good, brother. I'm good.
You good? You doing good?
For sure. Most definitely. Cold weather up here, but I'm hanging in there.
Cold weather, making it there. Everything is great. Man, it's been super cold. Super cold. How you doing, man? Everything well?
I can't complain, man. Life is good. The family's good. We had a couple of bereavements, but we bounced back, to live is to breathe, so we'll be okay in the long run.
Yeah, it's been a crazy time, man. A lot of stuff has been happening. A lot of things have been going down. A lot of stuff has been occurring. We've been losing a lot of people, man. And listen, I'm actually dedicating this show here to one of the first guys that gave me my a job when I was acting food in college. And Savannah State, I see that Savannah State shirt cut off. You look good. You look good. I want to say you look good. But he gave me my first job when I was at Savannah State. Wilbur Little passed this weekend. I want to dedicate this show to him. You and your family are my prayers. Always, I'll never forget you, brother. And man, just gonna keep living and gonna keep celebrating your life and your legacy that you did for a lot of people. A lot of people have good jobs, give opportunities to them. Didn't necessarily have that. So Wilbur, man, we definitely, man, we appreciate you. We definitely thank you for what you've done and to all of our lives, to the life, especially my life. So this show here, I'm dedicated to you, and I got a lot of energy, and I always appreciate you and love you, brother. All right, Bo, you ready, man?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. Mr. Little, my condolences to you and your family. You know, prayer will make the bond a whole lot better. And I hope everything is okay in the long run for the family. My condolences to you and your family. And, you know, God has all of the power. And hopefully everybody in the family will be okay in the long run.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Listen, man, it's been not only with loss, man. Speaking of loss, and I hate that transition. I hate the transition. But speaking of loss, this weekend has not. It wasn't a good weekend for really either one of us, Bo. It really, really wasn't a great weekend for either one of us this weekend. And what everybody has been talking, and everybody's been wondering. And everybody been calling. I got all these calls this weekend. I got all these inboxes this weekend. I got all this stuff going on this weekend about none other than the Cowboys. The Cowboys getting bounced by the Packers. But before we get there, I want to introduce somebody. We have a special guest. Now we look, Bo, and I'm gonna let you do more in the introduction. Because Bo, we look far and wide. We looked far and wide. We searched all over. Couldn't find nobody. Look far and high and low. I gotta get the words right. Look high and low. Then we found
Still
somebody.
didn't find nobody. Then you find Coach Shan.
Yeah.
Coach Shay in the building. Bo, go ahead and introduce her for us.
That's right.
Go ahead, Bo.
Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, we want to give you all hope you will give us a warm welcome in introducing Miss Chandra Smith Williams onto the scene. Went to high school with her, Dublin, Georgia. Then she moved to the ATL. She is a very sharp, smart individual with a lot of advice. And also, King, before the segment is in, we can use Chandra as the business of the week. She has her own business, so that's a fantastic thing up there in Atlanta. So keep thriving, keep doing good things. Welcome to the show. We want to talk sports with you. She is a Atlanta Falcons fan. She has a lot of knowledge about them. You can tell by the comments that she makes. And we're glad to have her. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Shan, for joining us. We very appreciate you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Glad to be here. I appreciate the welcome and the love. And let's talk turkey. I'm ready.
You ready to talk turkey? All right. We're glad that you're here. Oh, that was a sad applause. Now we're glad you're here. We're talking turkey. Now it's been a coach. It's been a tough weekend for you. You know what I'm saying? I talked about loss before, but y'all know what hurt me. I was already in my feelings when my boys, the Cowboys, got destroyed. And I mean embarrassed. We're embarrassed by none other than the Green Bay Packers this weekend. And it wasn't even close. I thought it would be closer. It wasn't. Before I looked up, it was 27-0. And all these people, oh Lord, I already know. Listen, guys, I already know what's gonna happen. I already know what it's gonna be. I already know. And I started, and listen, I was so overwhelmed. Yesterday, I ended up even having to go to the hospital yesterday. And my friend Terrence Thomas called me. And he said, King, he said, I know why you was in the hospital. He said, it's them Cowboys. And I was like, no, Terrence, it's not the Cowboys. I just had high blood pressure. That's what it was.
That's the Cowboys.
It wasn't the Cowboys, my blood pressure. It was high. My blood pressure was high. He's like, yeah, it's because of the Cowboys. Because of the Cowboys. And I had so many people calling me. And Bo, you saw the massacre that was my Facebook page. And I added each and every last one of them. I went through and read all the jokes, all the memes, everything about the delusion. I read it all about the Cowboys, and it hurt to my heart. What did you guys see in that game. Now, Coach Chad, did you get a chance to watch it?
Of course, of course. I'm a huge Cowboys hater, so I definitely wanted to watch the game. Um, I tried to forewarn the fans throughout the year. I said, "Hey, this is kind of your MO. That you're really great. You were solid during the regular season. I mean, I don't think anybody can question that, right? The games speak for themselves, the record speaks for themselves, but just traditionally, you all fall apart in the postseason, and comes playoff time, it's you turn to garbage, and you did not disappoint. You did exactly what you normally do, and you're right. It was a blowout. The final score doesn't even tell the real story, because you all were allowed to score like 16 garbage points in the fourth quarter. So really, it was like more than a 30-point blowout for you guys. So it was a little embarrassing, but typical. It was to be expected. So
Wow. Tell me how you really felt about us, really.
I think it's just
But what
something
did you
about you
learn?
fall apart. I don't know what it is. I really feel like at this point, Cowboys need to start from scratch. You previously, before we jumped on, you called out a number of positions that need to be revamped and possibly be in the search for. Try everything from the coach on down. Truth be told, from the owner on down. But hey, I don't know how much control we're gonna have from an ownership perspective. But Cowboys are not it. Okay. You do show up for the regular season, as I mentioned, but it is something about getting to those playoffs that you all are allergic to.
She said
Got to
allergic.
figure it out.
Jesus. Lord have mercy. Go ahead, Bo. Go ahead, Go ahead, Bo. Go ahead.
Well, okay, all right. I'm gonna start off with a little quick eye open. Hold up, we the boys.
Really?
Hold up, hold
Mark,
up.
stay from hearing that.
This is what we doing.
All right, this is how I feel about the game, King. You know, Dak Prescott, when he gets up on the center, his cadence, the first thing he says, "Here we go."
Here we go.
King,
Okay.
man, you will not believe how many times I've heard that on the job today. There are a million Cowboy fans on the job, and guess what? There's only 3 or 4 haters, and all those 3 or 4 haters all day they walk around. Here we go. I'm like, oh my God, they are still raffling the Cowboys. But this is what I feel. This is what I feel. I'm gonna break it down to you like this about the Cowboys when it comes to me, because I picked the Cowboys versus Miami in the Super Bowl. You already know that. I've been saying that for the longest. That was my season pick. And I give kudos to both of them. They made the playoffs, but neither one of them can make it further than the first wild card round. But I will say this. This is the problem with Dallas. Actually, they have a lot of different angles of problems. To me, Jerry, what you're doing is not working. You're 81 years old. Let someone run the team as a GM. You got the money. You were $13.8 billion. Allow somebody to be a GM. Pay him a couple of $1 million a year. And let's see, at least see how it goes, man, because your formula is not working. Try it at least a couple of years. Come on now, you're 81. But at the end of the day, I look at it like this. Personnel, there's some problems with Dallas. Number one, you do not put a 205-pound safety in the middle of your defense on a goal line defense to play middle linebacker. It's been haunting them all year. Dallas has been getting pushed around, up the middle, running the ball. And here's the other thing about it, King, that I can't figure out why they haven't fixed this from a head coaching standpoint, defense coordinator standpoint with Dan Quinn. Every time a team run 2 people in motion, Dallas secondary is awestruck. They are out of balance, and they do not know their keys, and they can't get in alignment the perfect way. That has happened every single time 2 people have ran in motion with Dallas all year long, and the secondary has gotten torched. The tight end for Green Bay, man, he had an opportunity to go out there and sit Indian style on the floor of the football field, get up, catch a pass, and walk into the end zone, man. That was horrible, man. All because they can't handle motion. So, film study. The young players for Dallas, they really need to grow up and become grown men, take care of business. You got to watch film. You got to prepare. They're not doing it. It's showing in the games, and it's costing them big time. And now they're on the couch with Miami. We'll get into them later. I'm going to dog Miami out like no other. I promise you I'm going to dog them out tonight.
So, Bo, quick question, follow up from that. So, Your boy Dak threw 2 pick 6, not just interceptions, but 2 pick 6 with 2 dropped interceptions, actually. So it probably would have been a total of at least 4 interceptions for that game. None of that speaks to defense. What's the problem with offense?
Here we go. This is what I feel about with that. And you know what, King? We're talking about a man who's scheduled to make $50 million in 2024. I mean, hey, I'm not against a brother going to go get paid. That go get paid, but that you got to produce. I mean, that's just being real. You got to produce that. And you know, saying the 2 pick 6s, that's horrible for in a regular season game, most definitely in a playoff game. And now 2 more interceptions that would drop. That tells me one thing: his timing is off. That means that he's forcing the ball, or either he's placing the ball where the receiver isn't. But at the end of the day, 2 pick 6s in a playoff game, I don't mean no harm, y'all. That's a bummer. You're not winning a playoff game with 2 pick 6s. It's a wrap. Not in the playoffs. It's a wrap. That has to tighten up. Hey, but guess what though? Lance is in the background. He got a whole off season to really focus on what Dallas do from a playbook standpoint. That may have a little pressure on him. This guy might compete for that job. Don't be surprised.
What are your thoughts on Dak saying, and this is for either one of you, King or Bo, what are your thoughts on Dak allegedly saying if they get rid of the coach, then they need to be also valuing whether or not I stay too? Like, in other words, they're a package deal. Like, you get rid of the coach, I'm going to. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I could easily see both going. Like, what? Like, your performance, what? What are your thoughts on that being his mentality?
King, I'm gonna let you answer that one because that's your squad.
I'll let y'all go first. I'll let y'all get it off. Then I'm gonna say what I gotta say. Go ahead.
Oh, well, this is how I feel. First of all, if you're a player, you don't tie yourself to a coach because he's not going to tie himself to you. At the end of the day, you walked on the football field out of college to the team that coach wasn't there, but now he's there. Yeah, he's transformed you a little bit. Your numbers look good while he's your head coach. I wouldn't agree with that if I'm Dak. If I'm Dak, I basically do my own thing.
Repeat that, Bob. I think you went out for a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, you went out for a second.
If I'm Dak, I do my own thing. I mean, by him saying he's tied to a coach, I wouldn't do that. But there's a meeting to be held also with Jerry along with the head coach. And we're going to see how that turn out because that's going to be an interesting conversation because from my understanding, McCarthy has to go in that meeting and talk about things to not get fired. What can he do to save his job? That's going to be interesting because Jerry Jones will hurt after that game. I'll get into that a little bit later about Mr. Jerry Jones and his comments about what happened.
So I agree with everything you just said, Bo. Basically, is that I thought it was not a very smart statement to make, even if you were a player that has built a rapport and a relationship with your coach and you respect what he does and what he brings. I get all of that, but this is a business at the end of the day. This is, in fact, a job that both of y'all have your own separate responsibilities for. And I just thought that was reckless to say, hey, if you get rid of him, you need to be looking at me too. Like, you want to be a casualty of his? Like, I don't know. It was just very interesting perspective he had on it. I feel like he just wanted to show support for the coach, but could have worded that completely different. So.
I agree 100%. King, could you please step to the podium?
Like, weirdo. I ain't losing my job for nobody on my own F up, not on the strength of nobody else's. I don't care how much I like you.
Well, all right. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, like I said at the beginning of the video, the issue is this.
Mm-hmm.
We had 9 Pro Bowlers. Like, it's not that we didn't have it wasn't that we didn't have the talent to get the job done in the game. We had the talent, and this was even though it wasn't really, it was an upset. This was an upset of epic proportion because I thought we would have issues with Green Bay because we've always have issues with Green Bay. We've always had issues with Green Bay. I thought Green Bay's coach would have a great game plan against us, and we would struggle probably for a half. That's why if you saw even when we got down 20-0, I was like, hey, relax, we'll be okay. Everything will be good. So when that happened, that went down. I was pretty cool with that. I wasn't, it was like I thought we would struggle, but I thought the second half, which we did play better, but it's a lot of garbage time. The second half, we would go ahead and show our dominance, right? My
Yeah.
issue is this. It's two things that I have issues with. It's not really Mike McCarthy, and it really wasn't Dak. My biggest issue was my takeaway from that game was one of the issue. The thing at the beginning of the year, and the reason why a lot of Cowboys fans were super excited was because we thought for once that this would be one of the few times that we didn't necessarily need that. We didn't need that we didn't need that to carry us to a championship. We didn't need that
Mm.
to carry us to a title. We thought we had a defense that was good enough to carry us to a title. We thought we had a defense, an all-world defense that was good enough where we didn't need that to do. Actually, what Cam Newton said was kind of how I felt. We felt like that was if he managed the game and made plays when every now and then, that we had a great opportunity to win the Super Bowl because of our defense. Not necessarily because of our offense, but because of our defense. But when our defense gets up there, I have no idea what defense
Yeah.
coordinator Dan Quinn was doing, right? And only thing I can really think, the only thing I really could think is that Atlanta Falcons facade jumped on him. That Atlanta Falcons spirit jumped on him. That losing Atlanta Falcons spirit jumped on him, and he forgot what he was doing. That 28-3 New England Atlanta
Nah,
coaches.
that ain't got nothing to do with what happened to y'all.
28-3.
Y'all would beat from the beginning of the game to the end. That was a different Super Bowl story for us.
28-3 mentality jumped on him. And the
You
Cowboys,
ever heard of the term any given Sunday?
I
That's
heard,
what this was.
but
And I think that they got comfortable with what they achieved during that regular season, like they always do. And for some reason, when it's time to get on the big stage, they simply do not deliver. You can't put that on
this is
10.
different, Coach. This is different. I'm gonna tell you why. This is different. This is different because in this instance, in this game with Dallas and Green Bay, in this game, the issue is this. They were out. They weren't ready, but they were out coached. If you go back and watch the tape and you watch what happened on film, and the defense that Dan Quinn was playing when he had basically nine, at certain times he had basically 9 DBs in the game because Bell is really a safety. They dropped down to play linebacker because of a hurt. He had Kurtz down there. He had basically more DBs, 8 DBs in the game. Not even 8. It's about 7 DBs in the game, and they were able to run the ball on us, which has been our Achilles heel all year as a running back getting in there and being able to run the ball on us. The teams that's beat us have all been able to run the ball on us, and I had no idea why he played zone. We've never played. Bo, how many times have we come on the show?
Put that zone up.
Right, Bo, how many times have I been like, dog, Dan Quinn act like he don't know what it is to play a zone? Right? He man blitz. I think we blitzed 4 times the entire game. 4 times against a second-year starter. You only blitz 4 times. I have no earthly idea what Dan Quinn was thinking when Green Bay got the ball and went straight down the field, scored a touchdown. Got the ball again, went down again and scored again. I had no idea what Dan Quinn was thinking. No adjustments throughout the game. None. We never stopped him until the second half. So I think the issue with us, a lot of Cowboys fans, and I'm speaking for a Cowboys fan, and y'all know I'm deep in the cut. I'm deep in the nation, coach. I'm deep in the nation, Bo. The issue with a lot of Cowboys fans was we wasn't really expecting that, especially right now. We wasn't expecting that to have to do much. We just wanted that to keep us in the game. Our defense played good defense. We got solid special teams, make solid special team plays, and then we'll be all right. If we have to go and get a touchdown at the end, we trust that to do that. But man, I have no idea what Dan Quinn did, and I think Scripture says to spell the evil word from amongst you. I think we have to get rid of Dan Quinn from our team. And let's be honest. I think he hurt his chances as being a head coach too. Like if I'm a GM or if I'm an owner and I'm looking at this game and I'm saying, hey, because you can't. It's in all fairness, you can't sit there and do Airbnb the way they did Airbnb and said Airbnb won a Super Bowl, and then said he's not ready to be a head coach. We got to send him to Washington so he can get from Andy Reid and show what he really can do. There's no way you can do that after Dan Quinn's performance this year and what he allowed to happen with them in that playoff game. To me, I think the issue with Dallas is we're not far. Like I said, 9 Pro Bowlers. We got guys all over the field that can make plays. Dak is an issue. I'm not saying he's not. He's an issue, but we can't. And I've been thinking about this the last 3 days because the initial reaction is get rid of Dak. That's the initial reaction. Get rid of Dak, and I'm like, have you seen enough? And I go back to like Michael Jordan, 8 years, and Dak is what, 7 year? This is 7 year, 8 year. Oh, this is 8 year, right? So I'm thinking, and it took what's the boy from the Rams? What's the quarterback from the Rams?
Stafford.
Stafford. It took Stafford,
Matthew
maybe
Stafford.
a good time before he was able to win his first championship, right? I'm torn right now on whether or not we should get to answer your question, Coach. I'm torn on whether or not we should get rid of Dak. I am surprised. I do understand him putting a vote of confidence behind McCarthy because he was an MVP candidate with um, his head coach calling the plays for him. So he had one of his best seasons with McCarthy. So I can understand him trying to throw his vote of confidence behind McCarthy. But at the end of the day, I think I understand why Jerry Jones is taking his time. Everybody wants to rush him to make decisions, rush. I think he should take his time. Don't be a prisoner of the emotion. Don't be a prisoner of the moment. Take your time. Think logically. Being a prisoner of the moment, that's an Atlanta Falcons trait. You know what I'm saying? That's not a Cowboy trait. that's a
Nah.
Hey, King, I got a
that's
question.
the Falcons and the Dolphins thing. That's not a Cowboys thing. You know
I,
what I'm saying?
I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Based on all of the things that's happening in Dallas this year and all of the playoff runs that have ended abruptly and shortly, do you think that in sports general, that 2 of the most difficult jobs to have is being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback and the Dallas Cowboys head coach because you exclusively report to Jerry Jones and he has a lot of say in everything? Do you think that's added pressure and that could cause some of the default that's happening in Dallas?
Of
Because
course.
he's not just the owner, but he's also the general manager, meaning that he actually drafts the players, he comes to practice, and he can give input. So, how do you feel about Jerry having such a threshold on the team? Do you think that affects them in any shape, fashion, or form with alleviated pressure or less pressure? What's your thought on that based on their outcomes?
Of course. But this is the thing. He's the owner. Like we all deal in business, right? He owns that's his team. That's Jerry Jones's team.
Yeah.
It costs to be the boss. He's the owner, right? And the way he decides to run his organization, you got to be, as far as a financially a business standpoint, has been exceptional, right? Since '95, it hasn't been what is it, 95 the last time I won a championship. Since '95,
95.
it hasn't been a successful on the field as far as championships. But business wise, he's grown the brand by leaps and bounds, right? So he has that cachet to be able to run the organization the way he wants to run it. Now, do I think would I like to see him give give someone more of authority like he did Jimmy Johnson? Yeah, but that's up to him. I can't tell him how to run his business. I do think he can get more. He hasn't done a bad job as being a GM too. Him and his son has actually done a exceptional job. I mean, come on, you got 9 Pro Bowlers that's played exceptional. It's just at the end of the day, that last little hurdle to get over the hump, he's got to figure out what that is, and that could be relinquishing some of the authority and the power that he has, and giving it to someone who's more of a football mind. How do you feel, Coach?
Okay, let's wrap Dallas up. They didn't win. They don't deserve this much topic.
This is the Cowboys. This is the Cowboys. We're gonna talk about them sorry Falcons.
Exactly.
We're gonna come
I'd rather that. I mean, they both had the same situation at this point in the living room. So.
Not even close. Not even close. You're not even close. And then we also got to get into Miami doing their thing also. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good year. I think this is. Y'all gonna think I'm crazy when I say this. I actually think it's kind of good for us. I think it's good for us. We have a really young team. We got a couple of veterans, but for the most part,
Now y'all got beat by a really young team.
we got to be about the youngest team
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, that's what happened.
Right,
Hey,
right. Y'all ain't that young.
But I'm saying like CeeDee Lamb, that's his first time in the playoffs. Was playoff experience. That's the first time. Cooks, I think Cooks, that's his first time in there. We got there's the first time tight end being there on defense. Michael Parsons was there last year, but we're still young and we still have a core. I think we can all agree they still have a core that can be successful. They just need to make some additions and some changes that needs to happen.
I think they just need to draft some linebackers and some beefy defensive tackles who can stuff up the run. I think that's one of the when Vander Esch got hurt, that hurt the Cowboys a little bit, even though he can't cover, but he can hold his own within the 3 to 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage in the box. One of the biggest things I want to see from Dallas is to stop making bonehead plays. Dallas is not a disciplined football team. Dallas will get a penalty here and there that will cost them a touchdown, or will stop a drive, or will add to a drive, or try to block a punt, run into the punter, fumble the ball at the 1 yard line, 2 games. I think they just need to be more disciplined, and I think that starts at the head coach and the defensive coordinator level. All right, on to Miami.
Coach, last thoughts on Dallas, Coach.
Shane, what are your last thoughts on Dallas?
Oh, last thoughts on Dallas. Yeah, they got to be some moving and shaking over there. I don't know exactly who's got to go, but somebody got to leave. It's going to be between the coach or the quarterback. One of those two key positions got to leave. You can't keep both and expect something different for next year. I just don't see it. It's not like you're working with a rookie quarterback and trying to get him up to speed. I mean, nah. Like you said, I mean, we're 7-8 years in with Dak. So what y'all gonna do? Barbecue mildew. That's what I say. Some gotta go.
I like it. That's like it. Y'all hit us up in the chat. Make sure y'all can call it also 478-569-6110. That number once again is 478-569-6110. Let us know what you think. You can also hit us in the chat on YouTube. You can also hit us in the chat on Facebook, also on X. Man, I'm here. King Joe, I'm here with my man Bo is here. And then we have our special guest host of the day. Coach Chan is here also. We're going to come back right there. Talk about the Dolphins losing. What happened, Bo? What happened?
Tua!
We got that coming up right after this. We'll be right back right here on the King Bo Show.
In the relentless rain, a saga unfolded. The Atlanta Falcons, facing the 1-12 Carolina Panthers, spiraled into a new abyss. Final score, a meager 9-7. The crowd's roars drowned in the downpour, echoing the team's recurring nightmares. In the virtual stands of Twitter, the fans unleashed their storm. Coach Arthur Smith and quarterback Desmond Ridder, once the beacon of hope, now stood in the eye of the tempest, their ship adrift in a sea of discontent. And so, the Falcons' tale continues, a narrative of hope, despair, and the unyielding spirit of football. Stay tuned, dear listeners, for the next chapter.
I love that recap.
Did you like
it? Spot on.
Did you like it?
I did. Yeah, it was pretty spot on. I detected no lie.
I'm working on it. Like I said, I got a little sick. I got the delusioned. That's the name of the new one with the Cowboys. And the Cowboys losing. So, coach, I ain't just taking shots at the Falcons. Like we got the one the Cowboys coming. It should have been done. It should have been done if I was sick. It would have been done today, and it would have been dope. But shout out to our animation team there. We're at King on right here in the King Bo Show, man. Let's try to do some different stuff, come up with some different things, and also show our creativity. What you think, Coach? Think it's dope? So we're gonna go ahead and get started with what we got. Now let's go ahead and go to the next thing. Now we know this was a big playoff week. We also had another. Y'all know now. If y'all know anything about the show, if you've been watching the show, you know that I am a huge Cowboys fan. Huge Cowboys fan, right? Me and Bo are huge Laker fans.
I am too.
All right. So coaches is a Laker fan also. Now we found out today that
The nation in the house. The nation is in the house.
Laker Nation's in the house, and we about to talk about the nation. I've been hearing some rumblings, man, that y'all not gonna believe. But then I found out that I've known Bo for a long time. I know Bo a long time. And I didn't know until recently that he was a huge Miami Dolphins. And with that being said, Miami this week had a playoff game. They had to go to Kansas City. And Miami, you know what's funny? I didn't score Miami was defeated. See the difference, bro? How I did that? Miami was defeated in a competitive football game, and a competitive match, back and forth. They were defeated by the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm not gonna be that easy on them. I'm not gonna be that easy on them.
You know,
I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
I get you doing that, but y'all just went up on that. Dallas should be the coach like Dallas is just trash. They should never be. Chan was like they just trash. They should never be there. They all this. I'm just showing a little, camaraderie amongst hosts. And, a little passion, compassion, and empathy towards my Miami Dolphin fan, who also had a tough loss this week, losing 26-7 to Kansas City. Bo, you want to start off? Or would you like?
You know what? I want to feel the flow of the air of the comments, and then I'll chime in. So I'll let you guys go first on this one.
All right. Coach Chad, you want to go first, ladies first, or you want me to?
Sure, why not?
Right,
so Miami had a pretty decent season this year, right?
Coach Chad, you cannot do that. You went and said Dallas was trash. You said that Dallas was horrible.
No, but I gave Dallas their props for the regular season. That I did. I was like, hey, they were solid. And pretty much Miami, I never expected Miami, to be honest, to even barely make the playoff. And then I did predict that they would be out first round. And I say that because, first of all, Tua is probably a walking concussion at any given time. I think that's been established. That head hit that coconut one time too many. And I'm not sure that he will successfully complete any full season anymore and give you all the results that you're looking for. You can keep believing into it if you want to, but I ain't about in. And it was just indicative. 7 points. Like, I don't know that Miami Dolphins only scored 7 points the whole season in any game. I just don't recall that. So that was just a lack of nothing in that game. Like, it was almost like they were not even there. Now, granted, yes, they play in a sunny state. It was colder than the MF. I get it. But, you're a professional team. You're not always playing in Miami either way, right? So you have to, become accustomed to playing in the weather. But I'm not sure that was an issue. They just looked discombobulated on defense as well as offense. And Tyreek Hill looked like he didn't know which way was left. I don't know. The entire team looked off the entire game. So they're right where they need to be. Next to us at home. Living room. And there you have it.
Wow. You know what? Misery loves company. You know what I'm saying? Misery loves
I
company.
keep it 100. We're going to get a chance to talk about my dirty birds too, but that's why I can recognize, like, you all gonna have to make some tough decisions too. And y'all may say it's too early, and no, Tua's gonna do what he's doing right now. We're gonna win some games for you. I truly do believe he has been impacted by this game long term. If I recall correctly, I believe there was a doctor that recommended that he retire and not play anymore based on the back-to-back concussions that he was experiencing. I'm not a professional. I'm sure they saw some things that, later on when he is, I won't go that far. But yeah, Tua is not your long-term answer. So Bo, what you got?
Tua, you
Wow.
not that guy. I'm just gonna be open and honest. I gave him the benefit of the doubt throughout the year. Kept hoping that he would make strides and make progressive steps to become the quarterback and hopefully win a couple of games against teams above 500. However, the only game he won was against Kingdom Cowboys. Other than that, that was basically it. That was basically it with Tua. My thing about Miami is this: the word minus and Miami just don't go together. Miami cannot
True.
play in cold weather. It's a bad recipe for Miami anytime they got to play anything up under 40 degrees, pretty much. I'm gonna be open and honest, and this just being straight up because I'm a Dolphin fan and I watch them a lot, and I know the players and what their tendencies are on the field. David Long Jr., middle linebacker, number 51, he's a dog. Tyreek Hill, he's a dog. Jalen Ramsey, he's a
Up in
dog.
his
Christian Wilkins, he's a dog. Zike Sealer, he's a dog. Everybody else, Miami, you're mediocre. You're really
Wow.
not who you say you are, except for Bradley Chubb. He's out injured, and Jalen Phillips. But I'm talking about the people that are still healthy and playing. Xavier Howard is getting older over there at cornerback. He's not all pro level no more. But overall, though, Miami, they laid an egg. Duke Riley, you disappointed me. You had an
Mm.
opportunity to lay the wood to Mahomes a couple of times. One time you just let him go out of bounds. The second time you pushed him. Eli Apple, you need to be cut. You won't tackle. You can't cover. You can't help. Kohu, cut. Is this the bottom line? I'm gonna lay the wood to Miami. You didn't show up when you got off the bus. You looked at the temperature. You gave up. Mike McDaniel, 3rd and 2. You know you're going for it on 4th and 2. You're running swing passes. Man, you got one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, one of the best rushing tandems in the NFL. Run the football on 3rd and 2 if you know you're going for it on 4th and 2. He's a bad play caller. He need to share that next year. Vic Fangio, defense coordinator, you're spectacular. Don't know if you're going to come back or not. You lost like 7 starters on defense, and you still win every ball game you play from a defensive standpoint. Matter of fact, Miami, $40 million over the cap. You got to cut a lot of good players. You got to develop a lot of good players. You in trouble financially because this was a 1-year hit and miss type thing, and you completely missed. Mike McDaniel, you're not that dog as a coach. You don't have dogs in the locker room except for 4 or 5. You're not championship pedigree. Give up the play calling. You choke in big time ball games. We can't beat a team above 500 except for the Cowboys. Ladies and gentlemen, we were a fraud all year. If you ask me, putting up 70 points and getting ousted in Kansas City in the cold weather.
Mhm.
I'm just going to say
Mhm.
this about the Dolphins. I don't expect for you to have the same outcome next year. I expect a decrease in your win-loss total, and I do not expect for you to make the playoffs. You're the longest tenured team now in the NFL since the Detroit Lions, who have won a playoff game since the year 2020. And that game, you tried to give it away. Your quarterback threw 3 interceptions, and Lamar Smith ran for over 200 yards and won the game with over 40-some carries in Miami. I remember that game like yesterday against the Indianapolis Colts. So Miami Dolphins, I love y'all, but right now, you're trash.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
you can't make me say you're not trash. You can't tell me you're not. You're trash. They're trash. They're straight out trash. I mean, they are trash for
Yeah.
real because you got to take a look at the picture of it, King. You had a football team that only thing they had to do was beat Buffalo at home. At home, you're the number 2 seed. You don't have to go to Kansas City. Buffalo comes back to Miami again. But at the end of the day, you lost that game. So they didn't want to win. And we're probably going to lose Christian Wilkins, our best defensive player, because he's a free agent. And if somebody threw $90 million on him, he's gone. This dude had 9 sacks and over 50 tackles. Defensive tackle. You don't see most defensive tackles with 9 sacks. You got to pay this guy. And we didn't pay him. So now he's going to test the market. So Chris
Yeah, y'all
Grier,
just gave him some more money too, Mike McDaniel. And I think to myself, what did he show y'all to get a contract extension of this magnitude. Like they are super impressed with this dude that played wide receiver at Yale while he majored in history. Oh, that's your athlete minded coach. Like, what in the yo? I think
And you know what, King?
Genius though. You got now his acclimated. He came from a very good coaching pedigree where they are him and the coach for Detroit Lions, and they all came from a dope pedigree of coaching. So he's a I like him. I like Mike McDaniels a lot.
I don't. He's not. He's. King, let me just say this right here. Let me just say this right here. If you are a player, it doesn't matter if you're a good player, elite, decent, mediocre. If you're a player but you're a starter, you have an opportunity to sack the quarterback. You miss that tackle. You take your helmet off. You slam it on the ground. On the football field, referee throws a flag. That allows the team to keep the drive going. They go down there and score a touchdown. Let me ask you this. If you are a good football coach and you are a player, do you make that foolish decision and do that if you're a player and you see a real solid football coach on the sideline? Because if you do that, he finna pull you and talk to you about that. Mike McDaniel did not say a word to Chubb, and that cost us the game against Tennessee, and then we could still lose the Buffalo game, and we're still winners of the AFC East. So, King, he's not that coach to be a dog, to lead by example. To me, these are grown men that are millionaires. You don't have to put fear in their heart, but you have to let them know that you are the chief and they are Indians. And Mike McDaniel is not that type of coach to lead like that. I'm sorry, man. He's not that guy. I don't see him winning in Miami. He come up with all these lame excuses when he take the podium when they lose. Look, all that stuff is overrated, man. He's up.
But I want to know from King, what does he like about him? Like, I would love to hear that perspective of what he does see that he likes about him.
I think he's an offensive guru. I think he's exceptional as a coach. I think I like the I like the way he carries
so
himself.
strong.
I like the way he carries himself. You got to remember, you talk about Tua. Tua's what, third year quarterback? Is this third year, right? Third or fourth year? Fourth year.
It's fourth year.
Fourth year quarterback. First time that he's had all the weapons that he's had. Man, I think they made a lot of noise. I think he got A-Chain. He got he built, and I think sometimes we're prisoners of wanting to have that instant success right now, right? And we don't give coaches a chance to really build something that's long term. And Miami has it. Let's be honest, Miami had this success. Y'all had this success before. Y'all even did the playoffs.
We made the playoffs last year.
Right, but
we made the playoffs last year.
That was so flukish. I mean, to me, it was flukish. So, let me just say this. I know you roll your eyes. Wait, before we get into it.
Let me deep dive into Miami.
Okay, how many times have y'all made it before then? Before this last time that y'all made it last year? How many times have y'all made it before?
Okay, the year before
it was a rebuild, right?
2 years ago, we won 9 games. 3 years ago, we won 10 and didn't make the playoffs. To me, if you ask me, Brian Flores did more than Mike McDaniels is doing with Miami with less talent. Because Flores was a good coach with Miami. Miami played hard with Flores. But to me, they're not playing that hard with Mike McDaniels. Man, you couldn't pay a linebacker to go up and push a quarterback while he's running towards the end zone instead of tackle him and run back on that sideline and look at Bill Belichick in the face. Man, it's over with. You're going to the back of the bench.
This is the play that you're referencing here. Where Mahomes, look who's goes. He's getting, instead of making a hit, he goes gives a block. No, that's not it. No. That's the wrong one. I found a way. Where Mahomes is running, that's not it. That's the wrong one. I'm sorry. But
you got to
I know the play you're talking about.
It's horrible.
Right. I know the play you're talking about. All I'm saying is this, Bo. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you guys, I like what you guys did this year. You guys had a lot of injuries. A lot of serious injuries. Chubb was out. You lost your linebacker. You guys had a lot. You lost A-Chain for a significant amount of time. I really don't think the Cheetah was full strength. Y'all had a lot of injuries that happened. Y'all had a lot of injuries this year that, I feel like if y'all had a full loaded team, could have made a lot more noise than what it. And y'all were a couple of victories from being the number 2 seed, or even close to being the number 1 seed. So I think all that can't
I
be
mean, with 4 weeks to
dismissed.
go, we were tied.
Huh? Say that again.
With 4 weeks to go in the regular season, if we beat Tennessee, we're tied with Baltimore as the number 1 seed. And
Right.
once again, that was a game at home, which we could not win against a 4-win team on primetime Monday Night Football. Hey, man, I ain't got no faith in it. The team ain't got no discipline. Miami's trash, man. Next year, they got to really show me something, man, because I done gave up on this regime, to be honest to you. Tua,
you think McDaniels should be gone?
Well, this is how I feel. I think that Mike McDaniels should prove himself I'm gonna say this: if he don't win a playoff game in 2024 as the head coach of Miami, he should be exhausted. Tua Tagovailoa signed him to a 3-year deal, put him between the $35 to $38 million range because that's where he fits between Jared Goff and Aaron Rodgers, somewhere in that ballpark. Would you pay him that for 3 years? And then make the 4th year a team option because, like Shan said, his brain is scrambled, so he could go in and out. But make sure you keep a quality backup behind him because he might not play a full season. Because this is my thing about Tua. 2 things about Tua. Number 1, you immobile. That's number 1. Number 2, if your first read is not there, he get pity pat feet like Peyton Manning when he had a spaghetti noodle arm and would throw the ball anywhere, which would be an interception if you don't overthrow, underthrow, it's an interception. And here's the other thing. He's hanging receivers out to dry. He threw a screen pass to Tyreek Hill. He saw the defender coming for the kill shot, and he still threw it. He should have threw it over his head or down at the knees. He put it right on the money, and the dude just planted Tyreek Hill. Big-time quarterbacks don't do their receivers like that. He got rid of the ball like, Tyreek, you take this hit. I ain't taking this hit. Big-time quarterbacks don't do that. Tua is not that guy. I'm convinced. I watched him closely. He will never win a Super Bowl in Miami. He's not that guy, King. I'm not even sure he'll win a playoff game. Look at all the opportunities he has down the stretch to even win against a team above 500. He couldn't get it done. We go all the way back to Kansas City in Germany. He fumbled a snap on 4th down. We can go back to a couple more games. He threw interceptions down the stretch against Tennessee. He threw interceptions down the stretch against Buffalo. And guess what? Out there in negative 4 degrees weather, Tua didn't want to play. First of all, he's from Hawaii, warm temperature. Number 2, he played football at Alabama, warm temperature. Number 3, you live and play football in Miami. Once again, warm temperature. So you don't play in the cold weather. How do you expect to win in the cold weather? And in the NFL, the last time I checked, to win a Super Bowl, somewhere on there, if you ain't got home field advantage, you're going to have to go on the road. And guess what? More than likely, it's going to be cold weather if it's not in a dome. King, I'm going to say it again. McDaniel, you've done some good things in Miami. Tua, you've done some fantastic things in Miami. But you've done them all against teams, but you've done them against teams without a winning record. Man, they're a fraud until you could just straight be a dog and just run through everybody. They're a fraud. I ain't buying it. And I'm a Miami Dolphin fan since 84. I'm not buying it.
Okay, so your GM, Chris Greer, is saying that they're trying to sign Tua to a long-term deal. I understand it, Tua.
Ooh, wow. Well, I can believe it because, I mean,
he's an all-pro.
I can believe
it. He's a Pro Bowler this year. He's a Pro Bowler this year. So you got to look at that. He's a Pro Bowler all-pro this year.
Let me say how.
He had a great year. Tua is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL this year. So
against teams without a winning record.
Hey, we don't make the schedule. We just play him. You know what I'm saying? He don't make the play. He just play who he puts in front of him. He plays him. So I mean, all pro this year, 4th year. You know, at one point in time was an MVP candidate. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying at the end of the year, this is first year with all the weapons that he has. And when y'all was winning 60, when y'all was winning by 60 points, everybody's like, oh yeah, Tua's the guy. He's gonna do it. Now he uses the playoff game. Y'all like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Get rid of him. Nah, man, he's a Pro Bowler.
Not me.
Give him a shot. Give him next year. You know, next year we'll see what he does. And I like McDaniels. I say give him another year. Get full loaded deck. Hopefully the team stays healthy next year, and we'll see what it is. Plus, let's be honest, guys. They lost to the Chiefs. It ain't like you know what I'm saying? They lost to the Super Bowl champions. It ain't like it's not like it's no embarrassment. It ain't like the Cowboys losing to Green Bay, the youngest team in the NFL. They lost to Patrick Mahomes. Y'all have to pat him back.
And the Kansas City,
Yeah, but to your point, they ain't even the same. They ain't even the same team this year.
and
They not going to the Super
the
Bowl. I
and
don't believe that.
I
So
don't think
I
I
mean,
hope
yeah, they
not.
the
I don't
reigning
either.
champs. So what exactly does that mean this year?
Hold on,
Hey,
but Patty Mac is undefeated in Kansas City in the playoffs, and they played in Kansas City against Patty Mac. Andy Reid is a mastermind at home, and they played in 0 degree weather. So I'm saying, give them a break, guys. Y'all want to just throw these teams away?
Listen,
See, my Cowboys
no,
losing got me
I
feeling
don't say
better.
throw him away. Even going back to the coach, to be honest, he's a new head coach, right? He's not had a head coaching position before. He's out all these, assistant to the assistant to the assistant coordinator of the water bottles. So, he's had some other positions, but this is his first head coaching. So I'll give him that grace. Because it is an extremely different and different level of responsibility you have to have as a head coach. So I'll even give him, I feel like he did decent. Um, I still would, I would give him grace for at least a couple more years to see how he, develops as a head coach. But it's hard when you are a new head coach yourself trying to get a team to be better. And I granted it's not your responsibility alone, but you lead the effort as the head coach. And that puts a newcomer in a very challenging situation. I just don't see that in him quite yet, but it doesn't mean he can't grow to it. But that's
Miami
what it
ranked
is.
the second ranked offense in the NFL, 401 yards this year. Some say the number one offense in the NFL.
So is it the OC or you gonna get a head coach? I mean, you say that to say what?
I'm saying that you got to give some credit. Well, he calls the plays, so the head coach calls your plays.
Does he?
So, yeah, he calls the plays. So 29.2 points a game. I can live with that. I can live with that.
I'm
We
I'm
growing.
gonna say this about Miami. They lost to Kansas City twice this year. I can see we lose to a team twice and we're in the same division. I get that, but Kansas City is in the same conference, not division, and we lost to them twice this year. The game that we lost to them in Germany was so tight, so close towards the end. We had an opportunity to win it. But the game over there in Kansas City, that should have been a revenge game. Hey, look, guys, this team has beat us early in the year. Let's go get this team. We owe them one. That didn't happen. They didn't even tackle. 7 points scored against teams with winning records. Miami, instead of averaging 400 some yards a game, that's 100 yards less to like 301 yards a game. And they're only averaging like 16, 17 points. I don't know what it is about McDaniel, but I will say this: if you play a cover two deep zone, you got everything figured out. Other than that, Tyreek Hill has to beat a double team. I think they look for Waddle enough. I think they look for Hill every single play, and then everybody else is a second option, and then he'll get the ball there. But my thing is this: Hill is a great player, but Hill has a Super Bowl ring. That team was built to win now. That's why they're $40 million over the cap. So use Hill as a decoy. Go to other players. You got a bunch of good skill players. You had Mostert, who ran for over 1,000 yards, 5 yards a carry, led the NFL in rushing touchdowns. Along with McCaffrey, he tied with McCaffrey rushing touchdowns. A-Chain, he only played like 12 games and ran for like 800 yards.
Should have been
And
a
then you
Cowboy.
got Wilson, the power back. Now, with me, you've got Cedric Wilson, a good slot receiver. You got a speedster out there running a 4-3-3 over there on the other end and Waddle. And you mean to tell me you're looking at Tyreek every single play? Man, use him as a decoy. But my thing is this: he's a good player, 1,700 some yards in the MVP race. I get that, but these are not equating to wins. And then you've got a offensive line that's staunch, can run the ball 5-6 yards a carry. Push the ball up. You got all the weapons you need to win a Super Bowl, but for some reason he continued to call the bonehead plays and key moments. And as a result, offensive he's putting the ball in Tua's hand too much. Miami could have ran the ball on a lot of teams and just won a football game, but they didn't do that. So he needs to tighten up. Last year, Miami won. Miami made the playoffs, lost to Buffalo with a third string quarterback, 31-35. His press conference at the end of the year was, I'm going to make a vow to run the football more next year. Man, we get deep down the regular season towards the last 4 or 5 games. There he is again with the same old stuff, trying to make Tua and Tyree look like the star. But you got all these people getting paid. What's going to happen is Chris Greer is going to wind up getting fired behind it, the GM. That's what's going to wind up happening if they ain't careful. And I hate that for the brother because he built a good team. But at the end of the day, hey, man, I don't mean no harm. Tua is decent, but Tua is not great. This team was built to win. They're $40 million over the salary cap. They got a lot of big name players on there making $10 to $15 million a year, and they have underperformed overwhelmingly.
I think the issue is not Tua. I don't think it is Matt McDaniel. I think Vic Fangio is a problem. I think you had the number one, number two ranked offense. I think y'all were 26 defense. So you put a lot of pressure on Tua, but your defense let you down. Your defense, and I know they had a lot of injury. Your cornerbacks was in and out, shuffling in and out. You was down to like basically your third string cornerbacks, a lot of that. That's why I said I'm not panicking as much. I understand you know that's your team. I'm not panicking as much because you guys went through a lot of injury, right? So we never really got a chance. When we saw Miami, they were dominant, right? So we never really got a chance to see them completely healthy. Completely healthy. We never had a chance to see them completely healthy. So I look forward to see. That's why I say I will give them another year just to see. Now I don't know. Vic Fangio is what 66, 60. He's old. He get up there to Saban them territory.
It's not old, man. Y'all tripping. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying, I mean, like as a coach, what I'm saying he's getting up in age, right? So, and I do think it's a balance though. I think he balances out McDaniel because McDaniel's young. What's 38, 39, something like that. So
Yeah, he's like 39, 40.
Right. So I think it's a balance with them two being that age. So I think defense is something that you guys are next year you'll be a lot better. Possibly get younger at cornerback. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many good years what's his name? Ramsey has left. He's been injury prone too. So I don't know how many years he has left. But I think if you guys a solid defense, another year with your offense, I agree. Spread it around a little bit more. Give it to another year to get situated. Give it one more year. After this year, you're right. If they don't do what they do next year, then I think you can start making moves and start making changes. But I could definitely give him one more year.
I can give Miami one good hint. Florida State quarterback Jordan Travis, he pretty much broke his foot, leg, however you want to call it, in that game against Northern Alabama. If Jordan Travis is there in the 4th round of the NFL draft, Miami Dolphins draft him.
Do not take him. Don't take him by all means. Stay away. Stay away.
You got to, because Tua is not that guy, and then he's concussion protocol on every single play.
Jordan Travis is Tua part 2 though. He doesn't have the arm strength. He doesn't have the mobility. He's Tua part 2. That if Jordan Travis is basically Tua part 2. You're with a broken leg that's coming off a nasty broken leg injury. Unless they get him in a 5th round, 6th round, I'm not taking Jordan Travis. I'm finding a stronger arm quarterback that can throw that thing because you got Tyreek Hill, you got Waddle, you got those weapons, you got A-Chain, you got those guys who can get up and down the field. So you need somebody who can spread that field and throw that ball. Especially if you got to go to Kansas City. That's another thing. Mahomes in Kansas City was just throwing that thing like it wasn't bothering that wind and stuff wasn't bothering them. Your boys had to throw them ducks. It was waddling. It was waddling for real. One of his balls he threw, 2 or threw, literally died in the wind. I was like,
it went behind the receiver.
Right.
And here's the thing. And here's the thing about it. It wasn't even a downfield pass. It was a hitch pass. It was more a horizontal pass than it was vertical, and the wind took it away, and that just tells me something that his arm ain't strong enough. But at the end of the day, once again, all those little hitch passes go up and down the football field. Football is north and south, not east and west. So this is what I want to do. Miami Dolphins, I'm going to end it by saying y'all are trash. Show me something next year to keep me from saying it. But at the end of the year, this is how I feel based on Miami. Patrick Mahomes beat y'all. Now Patrick Mahomes has to go on the road for the first time ever in the playoffs outside of the Super Bowl. How does he fare in Buffalo? This is going to be interesting. This is his first playoff game outside of the Super Bowl, outside of Arrowhead Stadium. This is going to be interesting.
Pick now? You going to make that pick now? You going to wait? We'll wait.
I just want to know how you feel about the matchup. What do you think about the matchup?
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good game. This is going to be but this is we'll talk about it. All right, we'll go ahead and get into it while we're here. Because we're gonna end up with the playoffs thing. Two things I want to get. Let's do that. Let's talk about that. Let's end up with that, and then let's talk about I want to talk about the Texans a little bit. And their rookie quarterback. 2 things. I think they're going to this is really going to see what Josh Allen is all about. All right, because he's playing against the man, Patty Mack. Right, so he's playing against Patty Mack, and I think this is his best chance to win. Buffalo's best chance to win out of all of it. This is the best chance. This is the best chance to win. So it's interesting. It's an interesting game and an interesting dynamic because you have We're gonna see how Patty Matt fares on the road, and then we also gonna see how Josh Allen deals with the pressure. What you think, Coach?
I don't think that there's a question about how he performs under pressure. If we've not seen anything else, we've seen Josh go in dog mode and just straight up dog fights. We've seen it in several games. We saw it last year, giving his all. Like that part is in him. He's demonstrated it. To your point, they're not playing last year's Kansas City team. They're just not. They've been too easily beatable this year. A lot. They've been exposed, I think, as well. So it'll be interesting. If Kansas City pulls it out, I don't think it's going to be by much. I think it'll be a close game. If it's a blowout in any way, I think it will be in Buffalo's favor. So that's what I say.
Okay, what you got, Bo?
I'm gonna start out by I see the Bills is a 5-letter word. I'm gonna start out by saying what the old slogan is with the Buffalo Bills. Boy, I love losing Super Bowls. There are a lot of people say that's what Bills stand for, but I'm gonna say this right here about Buffalo. I'm gonna say this about Buffalo. I'm gonna say this about Buffalo.
I ain't talking about Super Bowl. We talking about this game right here. This is not the Super Bowl. This next game.
Let's go now.
So they might lose it. But we talking about playing my home games, and that ain't the Super Bowl.
Let's go, Coach CC. Let's go, Coach Chan.
I think Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins this game, and the reason being is because the only way Buffalo lose this game, to me, I feel like the Chiefs are gonna go rampant while being able to run the football, and I don't think they're gonna be able to do that because Buffalo number one wide receiver outside of the tight end Kelsey is a rookie. I don't see a rookie going into a divisional playoff game dominating the way how he did against Miami in that cold weather. I'm sorry. I just don't see him going to Buffalo having an outstanding game against the Buffalo Bills as a wide receiver. I think that's going to limit Patrick Mahomes from throwing the football. I think Buffalo is going to win this game. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout or not, but I do think Buffalo wins this game. And I'm about like Shan on this one. If Kansas City wins, I think they barely win. But if Buffalo win, I think they win by 7 points or more. I like Buffalo in this game, to be honest to you. And I'm not a Buffalo fan because they're in the same division with us. But matchup-wise, kind of like them because Kansas City, they're beatable. They're beatable a lot, and it's shown throughout the year. And I don't see them going to Buffalo winning that game.
Man, I'm going with Patty Mack, baby. Until you prove me wrong, let's go, Patty Mack. Patty Mack, get it back. Let's go one more time. I think it's gonna be Lamar Jackson that puts Patty Mack out. It will not be. Listen to me now. It would not be. I can't even think of his name. What's his name?
Josh McDaniels.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I mean Josh Allen, yeah.
Yeah, that's how he plays. That's how I said. That's how he plays. He forgets how to play when he plays in the big game. Other than that one playoff game where he played very, very, very well, and then he played very well, and Patty Matt had the ball at the end of the year, and then they scored in there. Actually, I have not seen it from him yet. Right? I could be wrong. I'll tell you who I don't like.
I think you're wrong.
I'll tell you.
I think you're wrong.
I don't like that coach. I don't like McDermott. I just don't. I'm not a huge. I've been a fan. I mean, I like him, but I don't like him. I've known him since the defensive coordinator with Andy Reid in Philadelphia, which is cool. I'm just not a huge. I'm not totally sold on him being a Super Bowl winning coach. That's me personally, right? This is the game. Does the pupil beat the teacher? I don't think so. I got Kansas City winning this game. It's gonna be, and if it's in Buffalo, it's still gonna be snow. It's gonna be all that. So all that's not gonna be an issue, right? I got Kansas City winning this game, 24 to 17. Even though Buffalo's a 2.5 point favorite for this game, I still got Kansas City winning 24-17 in the upset. Take Kansas City or take the 2.5 points. Take the 2.5 points. I got Kansas City winning this game, or take Kansas City straight up. That's what you do. Take the 2.5 points, or take Kansas City straight up. If you think Buffalo's gonna win, take the 2.5, but take Kansas City straight up. I got Kansas City winning this game, 24-17.
Save your money, baby, in case you need to get some more medicine or something. Don't do that. So,
what you got, CC? CC
don't do. it's not the same at home. And I respect what you're saying about, it's hard to bet against, Patrick. It is, but it isn't. Not this year. I just don't see that same dog quarterback this year. And he's definitely beatable. So I just don't have that same level of confidence.
Can I push back on that a little bit?
And that's not taking, huh?
Can I push back on you a little bit on that? Can I push back a little bit on you on that?
Sure, but let me say this. That's not to take anything away from him as a quarterback, right? Like I definitely respect the level that he plays in, at rather. And again, he's a top quarterback. I don't think that's, debatable, to be honest. But everybody has their off time. And I just feel like this is a semi-off season for him. And that's why I just don't have the same level of confidence. And it doesn't mean that the next season he can't come back and be a super dog again and get right back. I'm just saying this year he's beatable for sure, and I think that Buffalo can do it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so let me see if we agree on this. I see what you're saying. I don't think it's more Patrick Mahomes. I think it's the people around him this year. He doesn't have the Tyreek.
I think it's both. I think it's both.
He doesn't have the Tyreek Hills. He doesn't have the weapons. He doesn't have the team that he had before. And I don't think he has enough confidence in Tony and the other receivers because they've dropped so many balls. Even Kelsey this year. Kelsey's had his worst year as a professional this year.
You got to think Taylor Swift is in the stands.
Oh,
man. Don't put that on that girl. No.
G-stretch.
See, you had that sister before. So maybe that's the reason. But no, seriously. I love Andy Reid as a coach. I respect him as a coach. I also like that he don't let the superstars get too much of the big head. Right. And I think my favorite clip of him was when Kelsey lost it on the side and he was slamming his helmet and all that, and Andy Reid bumped him like, no, like we ain't finna do no shit like that. Like what's going on? What you doing? What's up? No, we ain't acting out like that. And I love that he checked him to say, hey, this is not how we behave. We're professionals. You ain't gonna get every call. We all screw up. And I'm all about emotions for the game, but he was over the top. And you ain't even doing what you supposed to be doing. So what you so mad about? What, because you dropping the ball? Get on over here and sit down.
Well, I think a lot of that too is too, Bo, and I know I'm gonna let you jump in. A lot of that too is Andy had to do that more this year because that was Eric Bieniemy's job to do that last year. And
I agree with that.
They're missing Eric Bieniemy, and I think this is an ode to Eric Bieniemy. They're trying not to get that black man to office as a head coach because he's a black guy. They're trying to any other coach, offense coordinator that has done what he's done in Kansas City will have a head coaching job. The reason Andy Reid got a job is because of who? Holmgren, right? Holmgren got the job because of who? Seifert. All these coaches, all these guys came from offense coordinators. They had coaches that were offensive gurus. They were under, but they still got offensive coordinator. But when it came to Eric Bieniemy, they tried to be like, oh, he can't get the job. He needs to go to Washington to prove himself. And now that season, this is why I say I want to push back a little bit. That could be a very big reason why you're seeing a difference. And Patty Matt too, and Patrick Mahomes too, is because he does not have his offense coordinator who was his rock, who was there to make sure everything was good, who's there where Andy Reid didn't have to bump into him because Eric Bieniemy would have bumped into Kelsey walking off the sidelines last year if he did that. Mm-hmm. Eric Bieniemy was the one that kept them guys straight and in pocket and was a very straight line. You're going to do what we're supposed to do. And if you're not, I'm coming to get in your face and it ain't too much you're going to do about it. And with him not being there.
Respect the fact that Andy recognizes what's missing from his coaching staff and what he still wants to in place. So you still got to recognize and respect the fact, like, you're right. Oh, boy would have did this, but he ain't here, so here I am. Because it's still not every head coach can do that, nor demand that respect. So,
So two things with that. I believe that's why they won't go into Buffalo and win. One of the major factors is they're going to need Eric Bieniemy's brain on that sideline in that game, and they're not going to have him. And number two, the thing that Andy Reid did to Kelsey, that's all I want McDaniels to do is to have control of the Miami Dolphins like that. That's it. If he has control of the team like that, they're still playing football. But he's not that dog of a coach to go confront a player when they're in the wrong. But he's not that type of coach. He's more of the explaining why it was done. No, you can't do that all the time. Sometimes you have to let the people know, once again, I'm the chief and everybody else is Indians. But that's called holding people accountable. and that's something he's not good at. That's why they're in the position of where they are. But overall, though, in this football game, I like Buffalo, and the only way I feel like Buffalo loses this game, as if Allen gets down there and throw 2 interceptions that's costly. Other than that, I think Buffalo win this football game.
I like what you guys said, CC, and you might be calling you CC. I just made you got your
I don't mind. I don't mind.
CC, I think I do. You made me give pause, and this is not. It's very rare that I give pause to something that I'm thinking about. That Matt Nagy as the offensive coordinator in Kansas City could struggle in this. Now we know what every enemy would do, but Matt Nagy is calling the plays, and I've never been a Matt Nagy ever. So like this that does give me pause. I still believe in Pat because he's shown it all the time. Until you don't show it, it's like Jordan losing. It's like I got to ride with Jordan until you pay for the Wizards. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, guys. We'll be right back. That's it. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. We'll go ahead and get to it. We're gonna put the last segment on. We're gonna put 2 together. Saban,
All right.
Belichick, gone. What does this mean for the Atlanta
Hmm.
Falcons?
I'll
What
tell
does
you.
this mean for the Atlanta Falcons? We'll talk about that coming right back. Right here, you're watching the King and Bo Show with CC. We got, what is it, King CC Bo Show? King Bo CC. We're watching it. Hey, guys. Yeah, we thank y'all for participating and watching it with us. Hey, to all the people listening, we appreciate it. Steve, what's up? We'll come back and read from the Facebook that you guys put in the chat. We'll come back and read from the
Hello, this is Reba Green here, owner of the Great Green Store, and I would like for you to tune in to the Unnamed Sports Show with King and Bo every Wednesday.
I heard Bo.
Everybody talking about they the best. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. BRG walk on the God we trust. As long as our name is in the book, we good. Show me the list. Show me the list. Show me the list. Hey. Everybody talking about they the best. We the best, yes. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. BRG walk on the God we trust. As long as our name is in the book, we good.
Collegiate coach. My greatest coach. Collegiate. I can't hear you.
I don't know. You gotta. You like my screech. You know. The greatest collegiate coach of all time. Possibly the greatest football coach of all time.
Nah. He's already proved he wasn't that. He coached pro before and was good. So we're gonna leave it at collegiate.
Let's do this then. We have 2 of the greatest coaches of all time have a transition happen within this weekend, as we had.
I go along with that.
Nick Saban.
Yeah, me too.
Leaving the great, the fantastic, the awesome the dominance,
Opinionated.
the dominance, the greatest college football team of all time, Alabama
Mm,
Crimson Tide. Is it? Hey,
mm,
men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. The greatest college football
mm.
team of all time, the Alabama Crimson Tide. He called it.
Numbers don't lie, but time does tell. So we're gonna get into that.
We called it Alabama. Crimson Tide called
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Get emotional thinking about it. You gotta get emotional of it.
Ah, please.
And then we
You want me
have
to go ahead and you want me to go ahead and deep dive in since you're sobbering over here about Nick Saban leaving from over there in Tuscaloosa. You want me to go on a deep dive into this thing?
please, Bo, please deep dive.
Shane, will you do me a
Mm.
favor? Will you hand him a wipe or two so he can stop crying?
Hold on, let me get on air. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me just say this. Let me just say this about Alabama. So this is how I feel.
Wait, wait, wait,
Nick
wait,
Saban.
wait, wait, wait. Hold on. Let me get on screen when I say this first. Before you say that, you meant to say. Before I say that, Bo, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You meant to say the SEC champion, Alabama. Put respect on the SEC champion's name, Alabama. Go ahead, Bo. I'm sorry. I had to correct you there. You know what I'm saying?
Ladies and gentlemen, before I was interrupted, let me say this again about Alabama. This is how
Mm.
I feel about it. This is how I feel about Alabama. Nick Saban, you've done a great job over there. I give you props for that. You put a lot of young men in the NFL. You put Alabama on the map before you got there. They were mediocre, 5-6, 6-5. They couldn't figure out which year they wanted to win 5 games versus 6 games the next year. But you've done a fantastic job over there. I give him kudos for that. He's won a lot of championships. I want to say a total of 6 over there. He's been a financial stable over there to the community. And at the end of the day, he's made the fanfare very proud. But Nick Saban has decided to move on. So let me just say this about a college football coach or coaches at any level. You just don't decide at the end of the game that, hey, I'm calling it a quit. People have been knowing about it, but they just didn't release it. So other people knew. And at the end of the day, I can't say that's why they did not. That's why they let them into that Final Four, because some people probably knew Nick Saban was going to give it up, and they probably eased Alabama to the Final Four. That's the rumor mill that's out there about that situation. But let me say this about Alabama. Alabama has lost a lot of players because Nick Saban is leaving. A lot of guys are transferring out. I know a couple, 1 or 2 went to Georgia. I know Florida State, we've got 4 of them. But I will say this, Kalen, the board coming in from Washington, is a fantastic coach. He's won everywhere he's been, but he has some lofty shoes to step into over there at Alabama, and I'm not sure that he's capable of just coming in winning at Alabama, because Alabama is very used to going to the SEC championship game, or at least winning 11 games, going to the Final Four without an SEC championship victory. And if he can't do that in year one, you're gonna hear the whispers a little bit, even though he may be
Well, they didn't
successful
go
in year
last
two.
year.
I'm sorry, what's that, Shan?
They didn't go last year to the SEC championship, so it was very recent.
That's true. But at the end of the day, if this coach don't come in and do well, you're gonna start hearing the whispers, because guess what? He's already lost some players to transfer, and he's already lost some recruits who backed out and said they were not going to Alabama, which is basically running the program downhill a little bit. So he's gonna have to come in and build his brand and do very well, and they're gonna have to adapt to his culture, because Nick Saban was the thumbs down approach type guy, either my way or the highway. You'd have never seen none of the Bama guys getting into any kind of trouble off the football field, because they pretty much knew that they would be in his doghouse, and that probably would dictate. Oh, I'm sorry, but but at the end of the day, guys, to all y'all Bama fans, let me just say this to all y'all Bama fans: I don't feel sorry for Nick Saban leaving. I don't feel sorry whatsoever, because at the end of the day, they think that they are the best college football team in the world. But if you're a true Alabama fan, stay true to your team. But you will see philosophies change, and also that's what make players change. So let's see how Alabama turn out in 2024. I don't think they win 10 or 11 games this year.
Go ahead, sis.
That's easy to say. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer at this point. Um, Here's what I think. I respect Nick Saban. He's obviously Alabama has been the arch nemesis for Georgia for many and even the more recent years, we still always got to kind of go through Alabama, if you will, with the exception of last year, which they didn't make it. They really should have been in that same predicament this year. So, needless to say, Nick has allowed his coaching style and the type of program that he runs prior to the NIL has been an advantage over other colleges, particularly if you want a big money college like a Alabama. And there are some out there, but there's an extra edge that you get, right? We all know how boosters work and all of that good stuff. And now with the NIL, it made the playing field so much more even. And that is why the Nick Saban regime was going to end one way or the other, either way. To even get as close as they were this year was solely on the strength of the type of coach that he is, not so much the talent. I do give credit, however, to the quarterback because he started out extremely rocky, and I think he put in the work and believed in himself, and obviously Nick believed in him as well, and he fought with everything he had. But there is, not to switch up subjects, but I got to put this in here. There's no way Alabama doesn't fall after winning against Auburn on 4th and 932 yards, and y'all stay at the same level. It's just no way you're allowed to stay at that same number, even with that miraculous win at the end. But I digress. Going back to Nick Saban.
That's great time.
I told my husband last year that Nick Saban was going to retire. I say, if they don't make it to the championship game, because that is what they are becoming accustomed to, and now they haven't made it in the last few years, Nick Saban is going to call it quits for a couple of reasons. Number one, he can't coach the same way he's traditionally been able to. Two reasons why. I mentioned the NIL was one of the main reasons why. And number two is because this generation is different. That intimidation, dog style coaching is not working as well with these hot-headed ass young generation. They don't respond to that in the same way anymore. And not only that, of course, going back to NIL, it's not as, I don't want to say, that's the wrong word to say, it's not as attractive to play for Alabama, because most definitely that, but any and everybody can go to the pro now. Like, you can go to a D2 school and get your NIL, and that's what these kids want. They want the money. They want to get to the next level, and you don't have to go to these powerhouses like a Alabama or even a Georgia for that matter. So it's got to be the coaching style that's got to attract you and keep you there. And I think that Nick is still a little bit old school, and I just don't know how that translates as the younger generation behind them come on and on up. And I think that he's not going to coach again. I don't think he's going to. He did not say, I quit. He said, I retired. You are definitely the GOAT of collegiate coaching. I can't knock that. But I saw the writing on the wall prior to the announcement that his days of leading and dominating the collegiate world, it wasn't going to continue to trend in that area. It just wasn't. I think the SEC championship during there was a gift. Yes, they beat Georgia by 3 points. It was a close game, and they managed to be able to coach effectively and run the timeout and don't give us back that ball. And they put us, of course, in a situation unlike 2 years ago where we could afford to lose the SEC championship and see them again in the championship. They made sure that wasn't a repeat, because it would have been a repeat of the results too. Alabama would not have beat us twice in 1 year. But again, I don't want to digress too much. Hats off to Nick. I'm glad to see him retiring. But I think he gave the best he could in the right time. And now those times is fading away. And there it is. It's best to leave while you're
I agree with all of that. I agree with every single word she said about that with Nick Saban, because he's done a fantastic job. Hey, by the way, my name is Nick Saban. Can I get in the Final Four with one loss? Because I'm going to retire. Opportunity to play for a championship, please.
And there you have
So, look at for what it's worth. I mean, at the end of the day, King, the string of having very, very good football teams and the word Alabama being associated with national championship and the SEC championship, I think that's pretty much over with. I'm a big fan of the NIL. I think that if you're a good coach and you can relate to the players, and opportunity for players to get paid to go there and play together as a unit to win a championship is fantastic. Because, man, you know how many decades college football has had where the players can't get paid and they've gotten in trouble just for getting paid. So, and they're making money off these kids back. So pay these kids; they deserve to get paid something. But I'm a real big fan of that. But I think Georgia has the issue too. They're not a real big fan of the NIL as well. You don't see a lot of kids going to Georgia off NIL, Alabama either, Ohio State either. But at the end of the day, teams like Florida State, Colorado, I think these teams are going to capitalize because they have like player friendly like coaches like Norvell and Dion. These are kids that can relate to the coaches, and I think the coaches make it fun for them to go out and play and extracurricular activities outside of football that they can relate to. And I think at the same time they're getting paid and they're having a good relationship with these type coaches. And I think it's going to be a growth for these two programs. Don't be surprised if you see Florida State and Colorado in the top 12 playing for the playoffs sometimes next year.
That's all they'll get, top 12. It's going to be Georgia. So just prepare yourself. Prepare the others. It's going to be Go Dogs. There's no doubt about it.
All right,
go
y'all
ahead.
ready for me to straighten you guys? See, this is why this king is called King Bo Show. Because the king has to come through and straighten out everybody else and tell y'all what's really is going on, right? This is
All right.
All right, so let's first deal with, like I said, Nick Saban, greatest coach of all time, right? Collegiate coach. Now, I agree with some of the things that you guys said. Not as much CC. Nah. Bo, nah, definitely not. Let me straighten you guys out. See, this is what I want to talk about. And y'all went exactly. This is what great people think alike. We think alike, but we're not all. We think similar, but we don't think alike, right? And this is what it is, okay? So,
yeah,
this is what I want to talk. Y'all didn't even know I want to talk about this, but this is definitely where I want to go. The misnomer is Nick Saban retired because he couldn't compete, right? That he couldn't compete because of the new NIL deals, the new kids, the new football players, the new teams.
We didn't say he couldn't compete. Don't misconstrue.
Right.
It becomes more even. You're not as dominant. It's not a leverage for you anymore.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
that's what we said.
Okay, so let me straighten this out. Let me throw some numbers at you guys. Let me straighten you guys out. Let me put y'all on some game right here. All right? Let me put y'all on some game right here. Right? Last time I looked and I saw Alabama had the top recruiting class this year coming up, other than Georgia. It's Georgia and Alabama. It's A-B, right? Alabama and Georgia both had the two top recruiting classes coming in this year, right? So somebody's still interested to go play for Nick if you got the top 2 recruiting class this year. Let's talk about NIL. Y'all know what number, because y'all brought up Colorado. Y'all know what the Colorado number recruiting class is? You know CC?
Nope.
Bo, you know what Colorado's recruiting class number is?
No, I don't.
Y'all talking about NIL and all that stuff. And see, that's why King is here to straighten you out. I got to make sure you guys stay on point. The reason Colorado's 91. They had the 91st recruiting class in the NCAA. 91st, right? 91st, right? NIL, y'all brought out NIL. The NILs is changing. Nick Saban can't compete with the NILs. NILs can't save it. Well, let's look at the rankings of the teams that ranks Power 5 NIL teams that rank it money-wise. That gives out money, right? The top ranking. The number 1 NIL team, guess who it is, y'all? Who y'all think it is? Y'all think it's Colorado? No.
I know Florida State is in there somewhere.
Nah, not top 5. The number one NIL team that pays the most is Texas, 19.9 mil. That's not surprising, is it? Guess who's number 2 with NIL payments? That would be Alabama with 16 mil. Guess who's number 3? Now I didn't know this is.
You're proving my point. Actually, you're proving my exact point.
Iowa State University is number 3. I didn't see that coming. USC.
Yeah, they're paying people to play golf in Iowa State. They're talking about the golf program.
Right. USC is number 4. And I think a lot of that deals with Bronny James and the big country that Bronny James had. And then you got Georgia. All right. Georgia Date's out the top 5. So what I'm saying is these schools still, even with the new model that they are in now, the pedigree is still kind of similar, kind of the same. The top 10, Ohio State, Florida State, all those ones it's still a basically a hierarchy still in college football. You're not having TCU been in the top NIL schools. You know what I'm saying? You're not having Jackson State being a top NIL school. You know what I'm saying? You're not even having Colorado, Coach Prime. We're not having Coach Prime being a top NIL school, right? So
No, because he didn't do a lot of recruiting. He brought the team there.
right.
So
But the narrative is nationally, and the narrative is from I've heard you guys bring on NIL. I heard other sports shows bring on NIL. I heard people saying that Coach Saban got out because he couldn't. I didn't say you guys say he couldn't compete, but he was having trouble. He didn't want to compete with the NIL and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, he's already competing.
What it is, King, what it is, he's really not competing. He's just playing. He's just paying the people that's on the roster NIL money. The thing that will cause Saban issue is not the NIL money that's being distributed, top 5 or top 10. It is the NIL transfers. Kids coming from other schools going to other schools.
That's where you got it right. That's where we agree. It's the
exactly, and that's exactly what I was saying.
His biggest issue is the transfer portal. It's not the NIL, because if we really, CC, if we really be honest, they always slid money under the table to these players. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly my point. That is exactly my point, though. That's it. The sliding under the money under the table, that don't work no more. They don't have to go for that. That's not an advantage anymore.
If I had the top recruiting classes, normally. That's why the reason Georgia became dominant was because when Kirby went there, Kirby made sure that Georgia had the top 3 recruiting classes. Since Kirby's been there, he's averaged the top 2 to top 3 recruiting classes he's been there. That's why Georgia continues to every year is dominant every year. Alabama, top number 2 recruiting class this year, right? On the way to be number 2 next year, number 1, number 2 next year. You got the top recruiting class, your team's going to be pretty good. They're going to be pretty good. Now, the transfer portal is problematic. It wasn't really problematic for Saban as much as it hurt the depth of Alabama. The depth. A player can fall or get hurt. A player can go down, and they have 4 or 5 other 5 stars waiting right behind them. Now, what the transfer portal says is, hey man, I don't want to wait 3-4 years to have to play. I'm leaving now to go play now because I want to play now. That's what the transfer portal is. It gives the students the same opportunity that it gives the coaches. Coaches can say, hey, at any point in time, I'm out. I don't want this team no more, blah, 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 right? So the transfer portal is a big issue, bigger than the NIL, bigger than all that stuff. It's the transfer portal. That's the big thing. But Saban had already made the adjustment. He had already made the adjustment to transfer portal. He had already made the adjustment to the NIL. He had already showed you after beating Georgia this year that we were number 1. We're gonna compete with Georgia in recruitment. After destroying those Bulldogs, really 3-point game. CC, we should beat y'all by like 20
destroying. Now I'm gonna have to back you up. I'm gonna have to. So hold on.
We were up.
Winning by 3 points is destroying the team.
No, we let y'all back in the game.
And you scored that in the 4th quarter.
We let y'all back in the game. Y'all should have got blowed out.
King.
We let y'all back in the game. Go ahead.
Hey, King. I gotta ask you. Let me ask you guys a question about the transfer portal. Tell me what you guys think about this. You can use this model if you are a college football coach. What do you think about this? If I go get, let's say Alabama, Nick Saban stays. He's the head coach of Alabama 2024 and beyond. Let's say he stays, and he has the number 1 overall recruiting class for 3 straight years. Right? So that means 3 years down the line, these kids are juniors. However, if I'm Mike Norvell, Florida State, I go spend money, NIL, bring in kids from the transfer portal to come to Florida State as a junior, pretty much a 2-year deal. They're going to be there for 2 years. They come in as a junior. But Nick Saban has 3 straight number 1 recruiting classes. So the kids at Nick Saban, he's going to stay there possibly, hey, I'll be there 3 years, Nick Saban. I'm going to the NFL after my true junior year. I'm going to the NFL because I've played well. I deserve that right. I'm going to go make some millions. But the kid stay as a junior in the transfer portal, and he's committed to you for 2 years. So you've got a kid that's going to be a junior and a senior at Florida State, and then that junior leave Alabama, and I think that's what forced Nick Saban out, because now he knows he can't compete no matter what type of recruiting class he got, because he's playing against teams that got kids that has already experience coming in as a junior. I think that's why he left because he know recruiting doesn't matter anymore. The transfer portal means everything.
The Florida State Seminoles added 22 prep players through the signing period through the transfer portal. They jumped from
They are loaded.
they
They are loaded.
they jumped from number 10 to number 7. That would be the highest ranked class since Jimbo Fisher number 6 class in 2017. So
They are loaded.
y'all still not in that top
Some
2, top 3 is
coaches,
Georgia and Saban.
some coaches can adapt to the changes of the mindset of the players. Some cannot, and some will not.
So
Nick Saban is one of those that will not.
So you said
Not that I
Saban
won't even say he can't. He will not. He has a certain style. It has worked for him for umpteen years. That style was not going to continue going forward to get him back to championship level. 4 years ago is the last year that Alabama made it to the championship and won back in 2020.
CC, I'm gonna give you some inside. I'm gonna give you some inside stuff right now. You gonna hear something that
I'm actually telling you inside because I actually am familiar with a coach on the staff, and all they can basically say is these kids are different.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No.
I was gonna take it. I was gonna tell you something else. I'm gonna tell you something.
Oh, what else she was gonna tell me?
Saban was thinking about retiring last year.
Yeah, right. I don't doubt that.
The only
I said this a year ago. He's gonna retire.
Right. The only reason Saban came back, you know why he came back?
Why he came back?
Somebody probably gave him 200 cows on 100 acres of land.
Not just that.
But no, he thought he wanted to try one more time to beat Georgia in a championship, and neither one of us got to the point.
Every day you gonna see that like you, CC.
Because I'm gonna tell you this: Nick Saban did not appreciate when he commentated the championship game, and the announcer sitting next to him, which of course it doesn't have his job anymore, but he said what he said. He said, "Georgia's the new sheriff in town. They're the new dominant." And Nick Saban's whole reaction, like, "No, the F you did."
I saw him lean over and looked at him. I remember that.
Yeah, he looked at him like, "The F you say."
And this is the championship game. They should have drug tested David Carter when he said, was it David Carter? No, Pollard. They should have drug tested Pollard when he said that.
Drug testing for what? Drug testing for what?
I'm gonna tell you
we lost the championship game. That we had one loss since he made that statement. He wasn't all the way off, and we gonna be back again.
CC,
so Pollard gonna say something like that because he's an ex-Georgia player.
Hey, CC, y'all only as good.
Yes,
Georgia's only as good as their last 2 games. You know what the last 2 games were? They got beat by Bama, then they beat the best out of Florida State. So it's a beautiful thing right now. It's a beautiful thing because Georgia.
I didn't hear what you said, but
that's what you, CC. Georgia, Bama.
That's not what the experts have said. We're already ranked in the top 4 for next year.
Alabama. On that Georgia, and then
Alabama is not ranked top 4 for next year. No, it's not. Look it up.
I agree.
No, look it up. And they beat us. Remember, they the SEC champions.
That's right. Hey,
but they're not top 4 for next year.
See, let me finish up. See, listen. Alabama did this to Georgia. Then Georgia did this to FSU.
I don't even. That game made me worse.
Let's talk about Bill. Let's talk about Bill Belichick. Let's go to Mr. Belichick.
Bill Belichick need to join Nick Saban. He don't need to be interviewing for no teams. You 71 years old. Done, but you had the great Tom Brady that you coached, and you were 249 and 75 with Tom Brady, and without Tom, you were 83 and 104. Retire.
Spit them stats.
Retire.
I like CC.
Hey, I'm gonna go a little deeper than that.
And we don't want you in Atlanta. We don't.
The numbers are good, Shan, but I'm gonna go a little deeper than that. Man, do you know how many marquee games they've cheated in to win? I'm sorry,
exactly.
New England Patriots. Man, they ain't nothing but cheaters. Hey, it starts all that mess got started with Al Davis. God bless the dead when Al Davis was the owner of the Raiders. Al Davis had a $25 million lawsuit against the NFL, and they get out there and play New England on a Saturday night playoff game. Actually, the Raiders dominated the game. They pretty much led the whole game. New England fought their way back into the game, and then all of a sudden, there's the tuck rule. in which Tom Brady came out of the game, reportedly after the Super Bowl, came straight out and said, look, I don't know what happened, but I fumbled that ball. Charles Wilson made him fumble the ball. The Raiders recovered, and the man said, tuck rule. If they give that ball game to the Raiders go to the Super Bowl, New England never win a championship, and that started the string of all these deflate gates, football being flattened, spy gates, spying on the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
I don't know how many Super Bowls they have that they have actually cheated, either win or get there. To me, man, the
Speaking of
Patriots
Super
are
Bowl,
fraud. I'm
everybody's
sorry.
favorite.
They've won some marquee games, but they cheated in some games too. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All right, real quick. Let me break
right.
it down real quick. We got
Everybody's
breaking news.
favorite
What's that,
jab
Shan?
to the
Hold on one second.
Falcons.
Hold on one second, y'all. We got
I was
breaking
gonna say
news.
everybody's favorite jab. Oh,
Go ahead.
what's the breaking
Everybody,
news?
What's that,
Oh,
King?
I was gonna say everybody's favorite jab is a 28-3, right? I mean, they just love to bring that up, but no one ever remembers, right, that the scoring play that beat the Falcons in overtime in a Super Bowl is the only play never verified, never replayed. They ain't put it on the jumbo, no nothing. Immediately confetti came down. In the history of football, you tell me when a scoring play is not reviewed.
And they passed a
And
law in the
that,
NFL
with
for that.
that bigger impact, like it was like, come on, it's gotta be the comeback of all times. I'm just saying, I didn't say it didn't happen. You know, there's been speculation the knee was down, he never crossed it, da 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 da. We'll never know because to this day, you have not seen a replay of that scoring play. To this day.
That's
You
true.
saw confetti and it's over with.
Hey, King, I will say this about the Patriots. They've been given a lot of things that they've gotten. Now, I'm not going to say that Belichick is not a great defensive mind because he is. He's a spectacular defensive-minded type coach. He has completely shut down football teams from a defensive standpoint. But at the end of the day, they've done some things that they hadn't had no business doing. They've had draft picks taken from them. They've been fined. Brady was suspended for 6 games. Belichick was suspended for 3-4 games. They've had some issues over there where they've done some stuff under the table to which has really violated the NFL rules. And to me, I feel like sometimes they just didn't care. They was going to do it anyway and suffer the consequences later. But at the end of the day, he's great.
And then had the nerve to want to appeal those consequences because the great Tom Brady didn't want no suspension. Like, dude, you cheated. Like, what the?
You know, Bill Belichick may go from that thing that if you're not cheating, you're not trying. I just said that's what it was. But hold on, real quick. I gotta hit some breaking news real quick. Breaking news. We just found out from Frisco, Texas. You ever tell me?
No, they ain't fired. McCarthy had it.
I don't like the noise. I don't like it. All right, we just found out breaking news. Mike McCarthy will be back for a 5th season as the head coach of the Dallas.
Hey, King, I got some good news for that. I got some good news for you on that. Well, at least you know you're gonna go 12-5 and get put out in the first round next year.
I'm not mad at it. I'm disappointed. Let's get to so we can go. We gotta go. Oh man, we passed time. It's 9:05. We gotta go. But listen, I will say this. I would have liked Bill Belichick. I would even like if they brought Bill Belichick on as a defense coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Or as a defense assistant. But I don't think it will work. I'm not upset with it. I would like to see what they're gonna do in the defense. I'm not mad with it. Your offense was top 5 quarterback, MVP, top 2 receiver. Only thing we got to work on, we got to get a running back. That's a must. I love Tony Pollard, and he started playing stronger at the end. We need a running back. We need some linemen. But Mike McCarthy is staying for a 5th season as a head coach. Bo said they'd be 12-5. CC, what's your thoughts on that?
We them boys. Y'all got the same thing next year, but
Hey, King, just like how Dak said when he get up on the center, here we go.
McCarthy does. So maybe, hey, CC, you broke earlier today. Maybe that Dak that threat might have played a part in McCarthy having the opportunity to stay. So
Please,
he
I
might
doubt it.
have more pull than we think. You know what I'm saying? So McCarthy stays, and he stays on as for the 5th season for the Dallas Cowboys, which is I don't know how I feel
Wow.
about it, y'all. I really don't know. I really don't
I,
know.
I think
They're
you
only
guys get a
committing
new
to
defense.
2024, so I think that says a lot, to be honest. I just think that to be honest, this is just not the time to look for a head coach. There are too many teams that are looking for one. It's not that much quality out there, to be honest with you. And so this may be the best option for Dallas, but I also see that they've only committed to the 2024 year. So it's not like it's not in the back of their mind, but they're just saying, not now. Just can't do it.
Oh man. Okay. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. Both. Last thing is on that one. What you guys say?
Well, at the end of the day, I think that Mike Quinn is probably going to be gone. Somebody has to take the rap because Jerry was hurt at the end of the year with the season ending the way I did. He said he was very surprised at his press conference. Let me just say about the state of Texas. A green belt, simulating training over at the University of South Carolina in April. And my professor, he said that they have this medical technology over there where you can take your hands and put them on a metal table, and the doctor could go back and run diagnosis electronically, systematically to determine how your health is. Jerry made some serious comments with the team Monday. He addressed the whole team. He said, look, the time to win is now. We must win now. Jerry's 81 years old. So don't be surprised if he began to take a step back away from the team within the next couple of years and start letting his boys run the franchise, because Jerry wants to win and he wants to win now. So he talked to the team about that. That was urgent. He's bringing back McCarthy, 12-5 for 3 straight years. It's going to be interesting to see what they do on the defensive side, because I think that's where at least 50% of the failures come in at, their schemes, their philosophy. So don't be surprised if the defense coordinator, Mike Quinn, is gone. From my understanding, he's lined up to interview for 5 new head coaching opportunities. Hopefully he'll get one of those, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone from Dallas. So defense coming in with McCarthy on offense. The only thing you guys have to do is run a good scheme on defense and straighten up that. Straighten up that.
Go Ravens. Y'all bring me back next week. We got to jump on Dre.
We got to jump on.
Hey, we need to talk about Lamar Jackson. We need to talk about Draymond Green, ladies and gentlemen. We need to talk about how the wild card dispersed at the end of this week, because here's the thing about the wild card in the divisional round. This is the basic fundamentals of it. If you're playing right now, you're in the top 8 teams in the NFL. You're either going to play a number 1 seed who had a bye, or either you're playing a playoff team yourself who has already won a game, either home or on the road. So these games really matter now. There ain't number dogs out there on that football field for the rest of the year. It ain't about the money. It's about the rings. So let's see who wants it the most.
Go Ravens.
Go Ravens. Bo, dog, give me that Bo Breezy business of a week again.
Man, you looking at her. Shan, let us know what it is with your business.
Oh, well, yes. I am the owner of HR Answers. We are a HR consulting firm based here in the metro Atlanta area, although I serve throughout the U.S. I have a division that supports clients, and I have a division that supports candidates for job readiness, career development, resume prep, online interviewing tips, building your LinkedIn profile, how to network, building your brand. So I've been working in this HR world for 25 plus years. I love it. And check me out, hranswers.us, www.hranswers.us, and see how we can help you out and get to the next level.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Awesome.
US. Make sure y'all go check it out. Man, go check out the business. Get this young lady here, man. Oh my gosh. And she's fiery in sports, and she's fiery like that in business. Hey, that's the right person to have on your team. You know what I'm saying? That's
Hey,
right.
King.
Believe it.
King.
Yes, sir.
What you expect? That's the DUB in the house.
That DU.
Nah.
You for Dublin?
Oh, for now. They're partial.
I'm Dublin, yes.
Partial.
Originally, yes.
Okay, the fam's in the house.
But I am also a Redan Raider, graduated here in Atlanta, class of 93 Redan. Shout out. Woo woo.
All right. You know what I'm saying? All right. You're pretty all right with me. You're a Falcons fan. That's an X. You're a Georgia fan. That's another X. But other than that, you're pretty all right with me. You're pretty good. You're pretty all right. Hey, I would love. Hey, we thank you so much for taking time. I appreciate you so much for taking time to come.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you have fun.
Shane, thanks for joining the show. You gave great insight, great intel, analytics, and also with the numbers. Spoke from the heart and was straightforward the entire time. We appreciate that. That's what we need. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Yeah, we appreciate you so much. It means a lot for you
coming. My pleasure.
And bringing that much needed energy. You know what I'm saying? That energy to straighten us guys out. We appreciate it so much. And
King, what about the health tip of the week? The health tip.
Health tip of you got one?
Of course.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please get in 20 minutes of activity every day, exercising. Mm-hmm. And if you can't do that, please walk 2.88 miles per day. That's 6,000 steps that will elevate you within the top 20% of your age group of good health. Peace.
Yeah, I'm about to hit that 50 this year. I got to get active.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow. That's great. All right, listen, yo, Rose Health Tip of the Week. Make sure y'all gotta get active. Trust me, I just got fussed at by my physical my physician about getting out and being active and doing the things that you need to do. So make sure you take it. We want everybody to be around a long time. Once again, dedicating this show tonight to the memory and legacy of Mr. Pastor Wilbur Little. To all that's lost, man, we love you guys. We thank you guys for taking time. We hope we provided some type of entertainment, some type of separation from the trials and tribulations of the day. And we thank you guys so much for coming and being a part of the show. Taking that, if it's a minute, 2 minutes, a couple seconds, popped in and say, hey, and leave. We thank everybody. We thank Keith Paldo, Aiden, the real black male from YouTube. That's what's up. YouTube is starting to come through. YouTube, the real black male from YouTube coming through saying he's a Panthers fan. What? Oh, that's almost
Carolina?
Bad. Yes.
Ooh, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of 2 wins. That is a fantastic year.
That's almost like being a Falcons fan. All right, so I don't know who's worse, the Panthers or the Falcons. All right, so but listen, you guys, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in every week. We'll be back next week. Cece, you gonna be with me next week?
I'm gonna do it.
Do it next week.
Hey y'all.
Bo won't be.
Don't
Bo,
forget.
but go ahead, bro.
I'll be late next week, guys. I'm gonna chime in about 7:30 to 7:40.
All right.
Cool. So we'll be here. We'll hold it
we
down.
Got you back.
We'll be here around 7-ish.
That's what's up.
7 p.m. We're gonna start out. All right. Y'all be blessed. We all have a great day. Shout out to DeJour. One of our sponsors, DeJour Clothing and Apparel. We'll be releasing our line February 13th. February 13th. The website will be up. You'll be able to buy the stuff you've been seeing, the promos and everything. February 13th, the DeJour Clothing and Apparel. Thank you for being a sponsor. If you want to be a sponsor, make sure you inbox me or you can hit me at 478-569-6110 to be a sponsor on this show right here. You know what it is. King Bo Show. Thanks, CC, again. Appreciate you so much. Everybody, y'all have a great, fantastic evening. We'll holler at you guys soon.
Peace.
Love. Yo, she's pretty cool, man.
B.I.G. Show me the list. Everybody talking about they the best. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. B.I.G. walk on the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good. Show me the list. Everybody talking about they the best. We the best, yes. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. B.I.G. walk on the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good. Talking about us, B.I.G. walking the God we trust. As long as our name is listed in the book, we good. Show me the list. Everybody talking about they the best. We the best. Everybody talking, but they talking about us. BRG walking the God with trust. As long as our lyrics is in the book, we good.